everyone, I just angle grinded the base in 2 parts. You will know why next week. Before today's video begins, I want to make an announcement because I've been trying myself to make an angle grinder t-shirt and a Wilson t-shirt. I would love to have like a cool looking t-shirt with an awesome angle grinder and maybe like pain is temporary, glory is forever somewhere on the t-shirt. Maybe the brand of the cutting disc is like that thing. And the same, I would love to have a t-shirt with Wilson somehow. But I've been trying and I haven't found out the design that I'm really in love with. I really want to make a t-shirt that is so cool and good looking that people who are not into the Wintergatan universe and know the memes of Wilson and the angle grinder would want to wear it as well. So we opened up a design submission project for 1 week. So if you go to the website, you can see exactly what we're looking for. So we would like to see your ideas for an angle grinder t-shirt and a Wilson t-shirt. Let's see if we can come up with 2 designs that would just like pop out of the t-shirt that looks really cool. That would be amazing. Okay, you're in for a bumpy ride, like they say in Harry Potter, in today's video. This has been an amazing 2 weeks for me, where the doubts about the marble machine project has been as present as ever. But yeah, enjoy the story about the marble divider redesign. Marble divider redesign? Really? Yes! Haven't this guy redesigned his marble divider for like 3 years? Yes! This battle is not a battle that I'm choosing freely. Sometimes I've been redesigning things to make them look better, feel better, or just because I'm annoyed with the solution and make things a little bit better. The choice of redesigning the marble divider is a critical choice to make the Marble Machine X work. Believe me, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't have to. And if you're watching this video, I'm going to explain what the issues are and my 4 different options of fixing the marble divider. Basically, I am Perrin Ibarra, the marble divider is 2 rivers, the marbles that get stuck are the Trollocs, you guys are the wolves, let's go. I'm trying to build the Marble Machine X because I have a dream of going on a world tour with my band Wintergatan and play live music featuring the Marble Machine X on the stage. To make this dream come true, there's a lot to do, and we can't have critical failures happening inside the marble divider. The power of Thor! This is the first prototype of the stud welding programming plates from HBS. Cred to HBS, cred to Sebastian and Marius for sending these to me. These are CNC stud welded plates, which means that the precision of the location of these studs is like 0.001 millimeter. Before, I've been using magnets in the programming wheel, and on some occasion we have had broken magnets because of a critical failure in the Marble Machine X, where things can't move, the magnet has been broken off. With the stud welding plates, these are not going to break. If same error happens with these plates, something else in the machine will break. So when moving to the stud welding plates, we need to find these problems anyway. Some of the problems have happened further down, and up here is where our story begins. Chapter 1, the grey part. Down here are the grey parts. They are the original marble gates and almost the first part we ever CAD'd for the whole machine. And they are responsible for taking 1 marble from the marble queue and dropping that down. The original problem with the grey part marble gates is that they're kind of high up in the machine. So when they dropped a marble to go down to the charging position, you had like 20 centimeters of runway or something. And that took too long time for the marble. If we want to play the kick drum, do, 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 do. We have 2 releases, which means A, B, A, B, A, pause, A, pause. So we need to be able to play this fast. With a long 20 centimeter charging time of the marbles, I couldn't really play boom, 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 pause, boom, pause. So I came up with the Matrix Sentinels marble drops. If you're really eagle-eyed, you can spot the grey part up here and this marble gate here. Can you see that they're moving at the same time? So this marble gate has actually made the grey parts obsolete. They do the same function, and what I want to do now is that I want to bypass the marbles through the grey part. The Matrix Sentinels completely solved the charging time issue. It goes very quick for the second marble to chuku to run down into playing position. Chuk. So the grey parts are obsolete, but if they were still working right, I would just leave them in there. However, the grey parts are causing problems. An obsolete part that actually causes issues. And this is why I'm picking this battle, and let me now tell you about the issue of the grey part. So here is the marble divider. I put some marbles on channel 1 here for demonstration purposes. So here you can see are the grey parts, and here you can see the marbles. Okay, so when the pipe is full with marbles and a note is activated, this grey part will pull the marble straight back like this, and it will fall down like this. And as long as this pipe is full, this marble will always be in the correct position. However, in the edge case, when the marble pipe is empty, this marble can come in any timing at all. The grey part here is still moving for every note. So imagine in the edge case that this gate is trying to move to the left right when a marble falls down. What happens? Choof, it gets stuck. Everything breaks because this wants to go left because of the programming pin, and this marble that is stuck between this edge here and this edge here. I was sure that this was not going to happen because we had enough marbles in the divider, but turns out the shortest channels over here to the right belongs to the base, and it's just really difficult to keep them filled when playing fast music. To make matters even worse, we also have a problem with some of the grey parts getting stuck for reasons I don't know. We're gonna investigate that on the machine today. One of these channels are stuck here. You see that this white thing is not standing where the others are? I don't know why. Best idea I have is that some dirt has fallen down in the pipe and obstructing the grey part. This has happened with other channels on like 3 or 4 times. It's not really often, but that's too often. Before I start to work on this, I want to make one last comment so this is not misunderstood. During the Marble Machine X process, I have been procrastinating by improving things that maybe didn't have to be improved. As I said in the ending of last week's video, I've been picking some battles that I shouldn't have picked. This battle is an involuntary battle that I really have to pick. I'm not doing this for fun. I don't think it is fun. I want to make music. I want to do other stuff than going back and fixing issues. But this issue is so central to the whole project. So it's a fight that I can't choose to do or not. It's just on me anyway. I hope what I just explained makes you understand that I feel that way and that this is not optional. This is just something that has to be done. Really curious to see what we'll find under that channel. It's higher up. It always reminds me how crazy this project is when you look underneath things and it looks like this. You can clearly see that this one is higher. There must be something underneath. Okay, I removed this, and on the floor I'm finding 2 marbles, 1 washer and a lump of tacket. Let's take this first channel here and modify this. Here you can see the marble gate features and how the inset height here corresponds to the different height of these spacers to make everything line up at the top. I have a much simpler idea for the coming redesigns. This is still obsolete. We don't need all these complications inside the marble path. Let's remove it on the CNC. First step is to hold this squarely to the working table. I'm attaching a piece of scrap wood to the working table, and then I'm cutting a groove in it that will be completely square to the current CNC setup. So when I'm clamping the grey part into this groove, I know that the grey part is straight in 3 dimensions, X, Y, and Z. This is a fail-safe way for me to square things up on my crooked and kind of worn out MDF work table. So this is basically what I want for this test. It's completely see-through. The marbles are going straight through, as you can see. So now I need to build two side walls. My two fingers here are representing. So if you think of it, it creates a marble pipe like this. The gray part can move back and forth, and the marbles are not really caring about what the gray part do. So here's the finished plywood parts, and let's try them on the machine. So here's where the marble should fall down. That works. And what I want to do with this little part is that I want to plug the end like that. Good. So here you can see the beginning of the marble path. And here you can see with the gray part, that when the gray part moves, the marble channel will stay completely still. And I added extra felt in the back here. This changes the position, but I think it's okay, and maybe this will make the sound better. The last part sits underneath the marble divider, down here. So here you see the piece meeting the other piece. There we go. The sound is very different. So all the way from here, all the way up, is now one marble lane. So now I'm gonna try to play some notes with this first channel. By the way, the marbles had stuck here in the divide by 4. Look how cool it works. Isn't that wonderful? Actually kind of successful first test, but we do have two issues that I was aware about before doing the test. Issue number 1 is that the gathered weight of all these marbles are now pushing down on the marble gate here, and I can feel it when I pull it with my hand, but it's quite heavy. So issue number 2. So you see that these 3D prints have different heights. They were used to make the top marble be perfectly flush up here, so the marbles could flow easily. By doing this redesign as we've done here, we have removed the whole height control feature, and look what happens. The marble gate has stopped. As you can see, the top marble is sticking up and holding up the cube. This really tells the story about how important this height adjustment have been. I realized yesterday that if this was designed for height adjustment down here, we could just have shims on top and below, and we could have perfectly adjusted the height from here. But instead I'm going to try to fix both issues in one go by manipulating the curve of this PMMA pipe. So regarding the pressure and the tension, let's do a fun test. This is 340 grams of pressure. Now let's put the same 20 marbles in a bent pipe, 150. We have more than halved the pressure of the bottom marble. I made a new pipe with a lot of sharp bends, and I can feel that it's really easy, the friction. So if you think of the power of all these marbles, they have gravity pull them straight into the pipe, and here the energy goes out in the edge of the pipe. So the last marble is not pressing down so hard on this moving sliding piece. However, I tightened these screws to hold this piece better, and then the marbles got stuck here in this piece. And this is why I want to redesign everything from scratch, because I'm chasing my own tail. It's like so much grievance. I know, like here you can see the problem again. If I will release these screws a little bit, There. It's like these sloppy things everywhere. Now it's great. So let's look on the top of the marble divider. Sorry for shaky camera, this is hard to film. We lucked out. It's perfectly flush. So when a marble comes, it passes. Did you see that? So if I wanted to lower the flushness of that top marble, I would just manipulate the length of this pipe somehow. Doing that 38 times where you hardly can reach the pipe inside the machine is not an appetizing thought at all. Let's try playing some notes with this pipe. Okay, a one-note melody on the marble machine next. With guitar. I know. So, what happened here is that the kinetic fingers has to weigh this part down. Otherwise it can get stuck in a way. If you remember, there was bolts hanging here. We have to put a weight there. This is the new design of the kinetic fingers. What is that? What are you doing? Why is it not working? What's your problem? What are you doing? Why can't I just play guitar? Oh, I hate this. For some reason it didn't clear the marbles now. For every time I hear a marble drop in the floor, I'm just losing Shh. Every time I hear the sound of a marble on the stone floor, I lose an atom of belief.
If you remember that I put some extra felt into the grey part to mute the sound, that reduced the treble length of the marble gate, and that's the reason why the gate is not dropping marbles right now. Those 5mm extra felt was 5mm too much.
I'm showing you all this because this is a perfect illustration about how many little adjustment points this machine can fail at. Shout out to Anton, a Dutch engineer who was here a week ago and talked to me about this issue. He told me a really cool story about lowering the water in a lake. So if you lower the water in a lake and then you see something sticking up, you go there and you cut it off because you don't want anything to stick up above the surface from the bottom of the lake. Then you lower the water a little bit more and things keep sticking up, right? You go there and you cut them off, but when you lower the water, new things are sticking up. And my design situation is exactly like that. I'm lowering the water, which means I'm trying to make the marble machine function better. New issues keep popping up everywhere. But you know, in the beginning of this video I talked about I have 4 different routes to go. And you see all this fiddling? You see all the fiddling I'm doing with the current system? Like, that's equivalent of cutting one thing that's sticking up of the water. You know the machines that can dig underwater? I just want one of those to like clean the whole bottom of the lake and then just make a concrete pad and then fill that with water. Okay, now I know what to do. I'm going to present to you the design of option 4, which is the best case scenario where we do the complete redesign. And then I can show you part by part how in my head I have already found the solutions for all this, only that it's a big redesigning building project. Because this was a perfect illustration about lowering the water and new things keep sticking up. I just downloaded a book today, Atomic Habits. Listen to a passage of this book that I just listened to today. This is too good.
In the early and middle stages of any quest, there's often a valley of disappointment.
Yep.
You expect to make progress in a linear fashion, and it's frustrating how ineffective changes can seem during the first days, weeks, and even months. It doesn't feel like you are going anywhere. It's a hallmark of any compounding process. The most powerful outcomes are delayed.
This is my normal problem-solving mode. So what I usually put on YouTube is like a cooking show where everything is prepared. And I think it's a little fun to show you all this. Let's go. Option 4. I believe. See? Option 4 makes me believe. It's Wednesday and I'm CADing, and I decided yesterday to not put out a video today. So this is Wednesday 1 week ago when you're seeing this. And it's because I'm so overwhelmed by these design issues. I just can't think of YouTube and solve this CAD design problem at the same time.
I realized that I haven't made it totally clear yet in the video that marbles are getting stuck in the obsolete gray part, but also in the matrix sentinels. There has been edge cases when I've been using the Marble Machine X where marbles actually haven't exited the matrix sentinels correctly, getting stuck in the sentinel and not being played. That's why I have these lurking bad feelings about the matrix sentinels.
I'm in so much doubt right now, you probably can tell. Now I just want a clean, sweet solution, and I don't care about how much work it is. Morning has broken, just like first morning. Woot woot! I'm feeling a little bit woot woot, strengthened by the morning Oatly cappuccino. Yes, I think I might have solved something. So, morning has broken on the Thursday morning. Yesterday I didn't publish the video. Instead I was sitting here thinking like thinker statue, like this, for like 7 hours. I was like pushing against a concrete wall of this core issue. I think I have something worth rebuilding. What do you think of this? Ever since I saw Vikitu's suggestion on the Discord server in the Idea Vault that the L hooks on the matrix sentinels are useless, I've been thinking hard about this suggestion, and I have to give huge credit to Vikitu, not only for coming up with this concept, which is amazingly wonderful, but also for how the whole concept was suggested. I love how Vikitu is proposing very humbly, hear me out, the current system works fine, no need to modify it, but it could be way simpler and thus easier to build and more compact, here's how. Vikitu has even used color code for different actions. Blue is what just changed, green is moving parts. Above here is the L-hook solution, a marble is charged in the green, it moves forward, the marble falls to the L-hook, it moves backwards, the marble falls down. VQ2 is mirroring the motion, meaning that a marble is not charged here in the default position. So when the green marble gate moves forward, when a note is played, the marble falls down into the green marble gate, the marble is locked inside and the marble goes back. When I saw this the first time, I was like, facepalm moment. This is so simple and wonderful, but I also had an instinct gut reaction that the marble has to hit a moving target. So the marble has to transition into the marble gate when the marble gate is moving, compared to here where the marble is entering the marble gate when the marble gate is in a still position. And this is a crucial difference. If the pivot is up here on my left hand and you see the tip, this tip is traveling 10 centimeters, but up here only 2 centimeters. And the marble gate is pretty fast. It's like this, you know? This method relies on the fact that the marble can drop safely into the gate during a very fast motion, and that the travel is like perfectly fixed. With a very short measurable travel distance, this would be possible on the Marble Machine X. However, let's go to the real machine. So if I could place all 38 marble gates on the exact same distance and a little bit higher up,
I would be comfortable using the VK2 solution as it was sketched on the sketch. However, if we're using it further down, we have a huge travel speed here. So this will be, it travels too fast. Higher up, it would have had less travel speed back and forth the gate, and higher up it would work. I would feel comfortable with it. Although a little nervous still, I would feel comfortable. And as you can see, those matrix sentinels are all on different heights, and I would love if I could put them all on the same height, but then we have the charging time problem coming back, biting our tail. So inspired by VK2's solution, I've been thinking about how can I incorporate it. When everything comes together, I like better when the marble is charged, when the marble gate is still. I think this is a more stable mechanical operation than the marble have to hit a moving target. All things considered, I think that's just simpler. But then I got an idea inspired by VK2's solution. I realized that if we make the target area moving with the marble gate, we can exclude the L hooks, and we can make this whole system much shorter and much more compact. Here's an analog sketch, and here's a very messy digital sideways sketch just to show you the principle.
So let me present to you option 4 that I've been CADing ferociously. Let's start here with what we call the Grey Part 2020. The brittle 3D print has been reduced to a 5mm aluminium part. Look at the beauty of that. And that part is riding inside a plywood construction. It's kept very safely in all directions. And on this edge here, we can have a felt to reduce mechanical sound. That's just a huge simplification, and as you can see, there's no marbles getting through there. You can see that we're reusing the exact same system here. It's just hooking onto this part. I'm putting a bolt with a nut under there to give support to the little hook underneath. And yeah, and I'm reusing the marble divider frame, but as you can see, the pipes are routed in a very special way. So the links, the mechanical links, they sit on the outside of these sliding pieces. Here you can see it sits on the right side and here on the left side with a spacer to make them line up correctly with how they link to the next part down there. This creates an opening between these links where we can put the PMMA pipes straight through. The PMMA pipes with the marbles are never interfering with this mechanical motion. So we have bypassed the faulty, obsolete, problem-inducing grey parts completely. And these plywood parts, that makes it easy for me to bend the PMMA pipes. I can bend them with the part open like this, and then I add the second part on top once the pipes have been bent. And these grooves is a very esoteric function for marble path length adjustment station, where we can have some blocks with a curve in them that we can insert into the marble path to adjust the length of the marble path. I think I have the marble module. Yeah, it's this. I'm working on this. But imagine that you could insert a block here in the marble path and that you can route different lengths of these paths. Let me just show you the sketch so you get what I'm talking about. So imagine if this is the marble path and the little blue line I'm pointing at here. Imagine if we're making that 0.5 millimeter longer. This marble path will be 1 millimeter longer. By inserting different lengths in each channel's marble path, we can automatically make the marble line up at the top of the marble divider. Okay, let's get back to this design. So that is coming here, and I'm a big fan of
making each section a little bit dumber and giving it only one task. So we have the space here, so why not solve, instead of putting the height adjustment on the matrix sentinel here, this is the new matrix sentinel, where I've actually skipped the height adjustment from this moving mechanical part. I can instead put it elsewhere in the machine where there is space to make the matrix sentinel a little more simple. I'm gonna return to that one soon. And before, we had a spring tension system on the top of the machine. It was never working and we didn't have individual spring tension per channel. But check this out. Underneath, I've created all these profiles, which leads to the same point here, where we have 38 springs going up to a spring tension system. This is just an M5 rod with a flat spot grinded and a hole in, and up here you just pull this out, you turn this nut a few revolutions and you let it back again, and you have a spring tension adjustment system for 38 channels. And as you can see again, I've tucked this away straight behind the moving arms, which means that we're utilizing space that was never needed for anything else. And before, we had the spring tension system with the links, and that induced friction, and here we just have the spring tension system by itself. I love it. To the big thing, the matrix sentinel, the ultimate matrix sentinel. The last matrix sentinel, I said, if this is not working, I'm gonna quit the Marble Machine X. Now it's not working and I'm continuing with the Marble Machine X. So yeah, so I've reduced this to the minimal number of parts. I can open it up and show it to you how it looks in the inside. Look at this. This little M6 hex bolt is the stopper for the marbles, and the under compartment travels with the marble gate. So this is inspired by VQ2, and the cool thing with this is that the reliability goes up, and the marble path is perfectly vertical. So this is the inside of the original Matrix Sentinels. And as you can see, there's this little hill here for the marble to fall forwards. But when this is angled backwards on the machine, this hill doesn't get so impressive. And I had issues with marbles almost barely rolling down this hill. So that's such a huge design flaw. And it's just, I just hate myself for it. And this is the same of all of those, that the marbles has to, like, after being dropped down by the moving gate, roll upwards almost. And rolling upwards is not really common in Newtonian physics, which is why I'm so happy that the marble path here is completely vertical. There's no rolling at all. So for option 4, the major redesign are these new ultimate Matrix Sentinels, simplified, much more compact, much more reliable, or I would say reliable, because the earlier wasn't reliable, and we're dealing with the marbles like the unobedient little rascals they are. All things considered, I think this is pointing in the right direction. I'm really happy with all the tweaks, and then I can use a new function here in Fusion, export prototype, export, and then you get a real world prototype. Is it weird that I sometimes still can't get over how fun it is to make something in CAD and then see it in the real world and it looks exactly the same? aspect here is that travel length doesn't matter. So let's do 20 millimeters. Works. Let's do 40 millimeters. All the way out here. Works. Doesn't change the behavior of the gate. Did you see that speed? Wow! There's another difference between the two systems. The accessibility in these Matrix Sentinels is 0. If we have anything stuck in here during the concert, we could take this up, but I don't reach the screws from the side. You can't basically repair this. If something happens in here, it's a black box that you can't repair. In the new gate, you could lift it in and out as a module and repair it or exchange it in minutes. Good, good, good. Now I can feel how it performs under higher pressure. Actually, it performs much better under higher pressure than these, I think. It's amazing. Look here. Open slowly. Marble is dropped. One marble is in here, has already fallen down. Is it strange that I take enormous pleasure in the fact that this is 54 and the old ones are like 67? Du är så fin! Yeah, I forgot to mention that marbles doesn't get stuck and ruin the machine. Yeah, that's another thing. So the simple difference that the height is now so easy to adjust, it actually makes a big difference in the use of the machine. Okay, time for the in-context test. This is the deal breaker for the new marble gate. Perfection. Just works. It just does what it's supposed to do. I think many of you will wonder what's the real difference actually is, or am I just going crazy? You could think of how many marbles are being gated during one song in 38 places. We're talking about 10,000s, 100,000 instances of this happening. If one goes wrong of 100,000 or 10,000, the machine basically breaks. The small little mini issues we had with the last design, how even tiny they are, when you multiply that but by the amount of marbles, by the chance that something will occur, it's just too much. And this makes me happy as a designer. I feel like, yeah, it all makes sense. The whole machine is like coming together. The joy of finishing the machine with this good solution is hard to beat. Bird Phoenix is like flying up from the ashes right now. Yes, it's a new day, it's a new dawn. I have validated my design with the prototype and I can move on
to the manufacturing phase, and I'm going to design for manufacture this time. So since I'm making all these parts new, I can take the opportunity to think about how I'm going to put this together and implement small design changes that makes the assembly much easier. I have a great example right here. Let me show you. These parts are part of the new spring tension system, but I also need to weld these arms onto it. So I'm going to design a small little extension to just get the meat I need to weld something on it. And I'm going to do that for all these angles. And over here you can see we have a different angle, so I have to do a little different weld on point for each thing. If I do some extra planning, assembling all 38 will be so much easier. So there's the real machine, and here's my new CAD model, and let's zoom in exactly to this part here. So if I reopen the original sketch, here you can see the geometry. I edit the extrude feature. I just add this section we just added. I hit enter. Et voila, our part has a little thing sticking down that I can weld something to. So here you can see I finished all the extra pieces. So you can see here's the other side, and I planned where these extra parts are sticking out because of how the arms are going to weave around each other. Basically, they're all done. So here I've gathered all the parts for the laser cutting. Alex is helping me translating the German website for that. X20 means 20 copies of 2mm thick, and then the material is stainless. And then you can just take this top profile, create a DXF drawing, and we send this DXF drawing into the laser cutting plant along with this information on top. These links, the bottom plate and these round bars, I'm gonna recycle from the current design. I'm just gonna cut it like I did on this one, not gonna reorder that. The new things will be this, this and this.
Okay, yeah, this morning we started to order all the new parts, and I love when you walk into a dead end and you suddenly decide to turn around and walk out of the dead end. That's what I've been doing in this video, and this is the fastest way forward towards music, unfortunately, but I'm really excited actually about this big change in the whole handling of the marbles. They really don't want to obey if you don't keep them strict. So as always, thank you so much to all the patrons and all the YouTube channel members. And thank you to everyone who are watching this build. I've been fighting between making music and building, and I realized that my process is very linear. I have to finish the building before I can make music. So I'm building 24/7, and we have a lot of super fun, cool projects coming up for you next week. Next week is the contents in this little amazing box. This is one of the coolest deliveries I've ever taken. So thanks to Ace Crystal for that, and see you on the next Wintergatan Wednesdays. Right, Wilson? He agrees. That's actually the first time he ever agreed about anything. Let's see if he agrees on your t-shirt design.